Right about now. Hello, everybody. This is Eliz-sha from wisdomseekers.net, and we're here with Melanie. Melanie has got a really interesting story to tell, and I will prompt her on it in the next few minutes. You can ask a few questions if you feel like it. And but there's just the two of us. I don't have Elle to do the keep an eye on everything, so we may choose to answer questions. We may choose not to. It depends how fast I am. Because at the moment, I'm not very fast. I just had an operation on my arm and I'm a little bit slow. So Melanie, you have a really interesting story. I find your story fascinating. And I want to start at the beginning and work forward, but where would you like to start at?
I think the beginning is always a good start because it gradually explains everything that's been going on and all the stories, you can piece it together a little better.
Okay. Hey, Sadie. Hey, Eva. Hey. So I'm going to start here then. You're a Métis.
Yes, I am.
And I want you to tell people, what does that entail? Hi, Lily.
Well, being a Métis person is not just a mix of French and Indigenous or Scottish Indigenous. It actually comes with a culture. So it's the cultural background as well as the language. For Métis people, we speak a language. Usually it's a mix of Cree and French, or Cree English, Cree Scottish, or Ojibwe language. So, and it's a language that formed over time during the older days, and it's the tradition and the language that remained alive all these years. So it's a very distinct.
Well, you even have a wedding dress that goes along with the culture, the Métis culture.
That's correct. I mean, we do have ribbon skirts, but ribbon skirts also are pretty much shared now amongst all of the other tribes or the other.
They had a couple last month. I think they had ribbon. Was it last month? Ribbon day?
Yeah, ribbon skirt day. Yes, yeah, to keep the traditions alive and the culture. Now, the ribbon skirts, the actual story or the history of that is in the past, in the older days, there was I believe it was French that used to wear the ribbon skirts. They would make them and they would give part of the ribbons or leftover ribbons to the Indigenous women. And the women decided that, oh, well, it looked pretty good. So let's keep it going. Let's, let's make our own with that. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's
I love the variety of colors and things. I know where I am, I've seen some of the traditional dresses in photographs, more beautiful, and some of them are just spectacular.
There are beautiful patterns, a lot of stencil, and there's a lot of work that goes into that. And, there's a lot of meaning that goes into different types of ribbon skirts as well. For us, we really like strawberries, or the berries have a special meaning behind that, because there is a story that in the old days, all the men would go to war or would go off hunting for like a whole season. And by the time they came back, all the younger women would have blossomed, and so there's a lot of history going and stories going with the berries. So you see that on a lot of the Ojibwe pattern or Cree patterns, where you have the flowers and the berries.
Oh, Bree says hi to us, and Greek Maria says hi.
Hello.
Greek Maria is our Maria.
Okay, Greek Maria, yes.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's I think that's I really like to spend a lot more time on the Métis, but I want to bring it forward because right now we're selling you. And that has given you a spiritual background. It's a little bit different from the rest of us. And I know this because I've talked to you for a while. And one of them is that you've got to meet with the Native American spiritual teachers.
Yes, I have quite a different few from different culture, like different tribes, we would say. And it's all very similar. There might be a different word here or there or different techniques here and there, but it all comes down to pretty much the same thing. And everything that is the core value and what it is used for or practiced for, it's the same. Almost like religions, like you have different kind of religions, but if you peel it off like an onion, it's all the same.
It's like that, right? The base might be big, but the ending is all the same.
Yes.
So,
and it's like, there's a thing where one of the elders told me, he's like, if I tell you a story, it'll take me 20 years because the story never ends. There's always something.
But there's something that's slightly different in each culture, is because it's a different culture. Like what you just said, I can tell you a story, but there's no ending. There's no ending in life, which I'm pretty darn sure I'm going to use that now. Because I already believe that, but I never put it into words that way. So I think that's pretty cool. Anyhow, there's Andre M. She's from Brazil. Maria. Sorry. Melanie is at this moment in Mexico.
That's correct.
So,
and I just love it here.
Yeah. And you see the building behind her? That's her new home. It's been taken down to the bones and is being rebuilt.
Yeah, so if you hear a little bit of noise in the background, I apologize. There's a few family members working here.
But the thing is, we are just people. We're not, because a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that with your psychic or your spiritual, that you're on this whoa, cloud flying around. We're not. We're just human.
Yes.
And that's part of the importance of it. So I'm going back to your elders again. You call them the elders, right?
Yes, I call them my elders, or Mushum, Nookamis, or grandmother, grandfather. So there's different wording for elders. I mean, I call grandmother for certain people that I am attached to. And other ones I might call elder, let's say. For me, I'm actually entering that stage of an elder because I am a grandmother. So there's a rite of passage for that I went through. Even though I don't feel like I'm at that age yet, but I am.
Well, you started very, very young.
I did, yes. So now I am a grandmother, so I do grandmother teachings as well. But I'm also a grandmother to children that are not blood related, so it's about offering teaching and spiritual guidance as well.
It's the thing about spirituality, isn't it? We often don't choose who we love.
Well, I love all people. Yeah. I have to say, I love everybody. Even if they don't like me.
No, exactly. I understand that. There's some people I mourn and they leave, and some people I go, interesting. But
I like how you say interesting.
Well, how many people do you know now that you knew 15 years ago or 20 years ago?
Not very many. No,
exactly.
Because we evolve and we move on, and sometimes people are meant to be in our lives for a day, sometimes they're meant to be in our lives forever, sometimes it's 20 years, and there's a purpose to to why you've met that person, or you've had a friendship and there's a reason why that person went away. Sometimes it's removing blocks, sometimes it's a lesson.
Yeah.
So
And sometimes it's because people are afraid.
sometimes that's what it is as well. Yes, fear is a big problem amongst people, sadly.
And
So
when people like you and I,
Mm,
we do have a tendency to create girls.
yes.
And whether you intend to or not, it just seems to be part of the way we are. Is there anything more you'd like to say about what how you are learning differently than say what I did? I know that I had a hand in you going forward, but it wasn't a big hand. It wasn't a big part of it. You already knew a lot. You already have a lot of that information.
I think sometimes that, like anybody, because we are human, I needed a nudge.
Well,
And
I'm good at nudges.
yes, and I mean, we clicked
Yes,
when
we
I met
seem
you.
to be old friends from many lifetimes.
So I've learned also to let go of fear, let go of guilt, because that takes you nowhere. It just keeps you in the past, or it keeps you from moving forward. Um, Always follow your instinct, your
Where do
gut
you find
feeling.
that? Because people go follow your instinct, but they don't know how to. How do you explain that?
So for me, it's I go within my gut. It's really that the instinct comes from the stomach area. It's really above here.
Okay.
What confuses us is our brain, right? We tend to
Logic.
have this
We logic
battle. Yes, it's this battle. Oh, should I not? Really center yourself and listen to the heart center and the stomach.
Yeah.
That's where you'll feel that pull.
And it's the quiet mind, right? Do you find that your mind has to be quiet with your
It
mind?
It has to be quiet, but sometimes it's a little tricky. So you have to kind of try to overpower that with your natural instinct versus logical thinking and irrational thinking, and because that's just madness.
And it does go to madness when how many people do you know? How many people do you know they have the right instinct and then they sit back and they get rid of that and go, oh no, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Yes,
I
it's
have
like
a lady that is a longtime friend. She says of herself, I have the best intuition, the absolute best. Unfortunately, I don't follow it.
well, that's self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she needs to go find at the beginning what created that doubt from the very moment she was born. Maybe it was from a past life as well.
Yeah.
Why? So she needs to find why. And then when she knows the why, that's when she can actually go from there and revert that and change that. And sometimes it's in the energies as well. So who is she listening to? Why is she not listening to herself?
Yeah. Well, she's listening to her logic.
Okay.
And what's logic? Quite often logic is what's social, right? Socially, is it acceptable? Because sometimes, and I'm not sure how far to take this, but I know recently you became engaged.
Yes.
And did you have any self-doubts about that? Because it was an unusual situation in a bit of a way, but you jumped in with both feet. If you want to talk about it, if you don't, that's also
No,
fine.
I can talk about it. I did have some doubts. I did have some fear, because fear is not, it's a natural instinct, right? It keeps us alive too. If we didn't have any fear of anything, then we'd probably jump off a bridge and be like, oh, it's fine. So fear is also a little important for certain situations.
Yeah.
But it's to make the difference as to why, when it's when it's a necessity and when it's not. So with this, there was a little fear, and it was the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, which is always the biggest thing, right? The fear of the unknown.
Yes. I sat and stopped listening to those fears.
How did you choose to do that?
Hmm.
That's something that's hard for people.
It is. I really like when there's moments like that where it's more intense and I need to not have the self-reflection, but more be aware of what my body is telling me. Like I said, the upper chest, upper stomach, and chest area. I like to really ground myself. And I don't mean just put your feet down. I like to sit on the ground where it is. In wintertime, it's a little more difficult because it's cold. But even if you have a basement or one level, it's just root yourself, really root yourself to the core of Mother Earth. Change that energy,
You can do
recycle it.
that with your imagination. It's not quite as good as the physical, but it does work.
Yes. I personally like the physical because it was uh my body that I wanted to listen to. I wanted to listen to the physical part rather than the thought.
Because for you, the change is really, really dramatic.
And it was a physical change as
Yeah,
well. I was moving from one country to another. So it's
exactly.
also a physical change. So I listened to what my instinct and intuition was telling me and what it was whether I had like this feeling of a pull, or sometimes it's like a pull or like a circular type motion. You'll feel a movement. And that to me felt good. If it felt good, then it was like, yes, go ahead. If it doesn't feel good, then don't go. Don't do it.
Even though is something that might not be necessarily what the culture or not culture, social society goes, yeah, this is a good thing.
But there is another thing too, is that my current fiance, we knew each other way long in previous lives. It's not just in this lifetime. And we recognized each other.
Okay, so there was a strength there, but
It was already
the
built up.
difference
Yes.
between you doing that and somebody else doing that is both of you have a very strong spiritual background. What if there's somebody who doesn't have that strong spiritual background, doesn't have the trust, and they do care what society thinks of you, or think they care what society thinks of you?
Well, that is a little more challenging. A person needs to want to be open to receiving that information. We can't really say we can't force somebody to open up, right? So it's
Exactly. We have exactly the perfect question for you. Bree, who is a longtime follower of ours, I think she's Canadian, but lives in Germany. She says, yeah, do you have any tips on differentiating between inner knowledge, knowing, and wishful thinking, which is basically what we were talking about.
yes, it's learning to quiet the mind. You have to quiet the mind before you're able to listen to your inner intuition. And it's it takes grounding. It takes some people like to use stone for grounding, or water, or meditation.
I actually have a piece of granite here somewhere or other, which since I broke my arm, I kind of can't find anything. Just to hold it in my hands occasionally for that reason, because, well, I live in Canada. It's snowing outside.
So grounding to anything that is earthy as well is very good. Water comes from earth. Some people like to add a little cedar in their water to have a nice cedar bath, because it's also a cleansing at the same time. So you want to, it takes a lot of focus, but focus on not focusing, if that makes any sense. So it's a focus on the internal part of yourself.
Yeah, and trust. 'Cause that's the thing that I had, because I got the answers all the time, but I didn't trust.
And you got to be kind, patient, and gentle with yourself.
Yeah, and you pay attention to the inner side, because it's emotions, it's feelings, not necessarily words.
Exactly.
Okay,
And your body always has the answer.
it does.
You know, when if you take a person that's really, really stressed and they get shoulder pain, they don't realize that they're really stressed. Sometimes it does happen. People don't realize that they're stressed, but then they're like, oh, my shoulders ache. Well, that's because you're carrying something, you're stressed. So your body knows it. Your body is, in turn, reacting.
That's where the illness comes in, right?
Exactly. So it's the same concept. It's really paying attention and being mindful of how your body reacts.
And that's something I did. Took me quite a few, and it was a quiet mind, then paying attention to how it felt when it was right. Because you can tell yourself something and your body can say, oh yeah, but it doesn't have the same feeling.
Yes. And if you're going back and forth, then maybe you're just not ready at this time to make a decision. And that is okay.
You are, but somebody else you have to wait for somebody else to catch up.
Yeah.
So Bree says she's not Canadian, she's from Asia. Cool, I did not know that. And Bree says that's a great tip. She should try to meditate and a little more regularly. I'm of two minds about meditation, honestly.
You can do, because everybody has such a busy lifestyle, so it's hard to meditate, right? Sometimes you don't have the time. I like doing it while I'm sleeping. Your mind knows.
Yeah.
While you're sleeping, pick something. I like talking meditation. So it puts me to sleep, but I get to do what I need to do while I'm sleeping as well, like traveling and some healing in other dimensions and things like that.
And we do work a lot on the other dimensions.
There is a lot of things going on currently, a lot.
Yeah. And hopefully by 2028,
it'll settle down.
Start switching over. I know that what before we started, you were talking about a building that's being built in Canada, which to me is the essence of a dystopian energy. I do know that it's supposed to be finished by 2027, but I didn't know it was Canada. So hopefully the powers that be, and I'm talking about, okay, this is something I believe in, even though I am very obviously about as white as you can get and still be not be albino. I do believe that there is a one God, but there are many gods there are many entities under that work with and for or against God. And so, and I'm going to throw you under the bus again. I apologize. But one of your totems is the bear.
That is my clan. Yes.
Yeah. But it's also your power. How do you say that? It's an animal for you. And I'm assuming that the deer is your personal
guide. Yes.
How can they help us to make sure that the society, because society is not all of one mind, right? But I do believe if you ask, because I've always believed in tree spirits. I believe in water spirits. I believe in mountain spirits. It does not make sense to me that there wouldn't be. Honestly.
Exactly. Everything has a spirit and everything has a life. Even a rock.
Yeah.
There's the rock spirit. Everything has a purpose, right? It is the cycle of life. Even though we say, oh well, a rock is not alive, but it very much is. It comes from earth, and earth is alive. So
Yeah. So Jennifer has a question, and I'm going to get you to talk for a minute because I need to go away for a minute. But and then I'll come back and ask you to ask that question. Champagne, she's grounding to me is not just meditation, it is being here in the now, the present, as whole mind, body, and soul, all connected here, not in the head, either somewhere else, all in balance. Yeah, exactly. Can you I have to go for 2 minutes, but if you can find a subject you'd like to talk about, I will come back, and I apologize. But I would like to, I personally believe that there are there's a name for that, right? When you believe in many different gods, that there's spirit and everything.
I don't know if there's a name for it. I was never.
There is a name for it, but I can't remember it. There's one God and then many God pantheon. But I always grew up reading science fiction, science fantasy, so I always just thought, yeah, no, that makes so much sense.
But science fiction has a lot of facts in them.
Well, back when I was growing up, there was no spiritual books, so I got my spirituality from reading science fiction, science fantasy. This is a good question. Where did you start your journey? Because I'm sure you started it very young, and I'll be right back.
I started very young. I remember when I was a small child. Actually, I was I was very prone to accidents when I was a kid. I mean, I've had some major accidents. I was dragged by a car, almost drowned. There's a whole lot of things that happened that were life threatening, and that made me wonder, or always made me question, why I was able to survive these types of major accidents. I came to understand later on that it was, for a purpose. But then the other question came along, like, what was that purpose? And that's something that we tend to look for. A lot of us look for purpose in life. And I was lucky enough to find it early. Some people, it takes years or a lifetime. But I've had a lot of major events in my life that happened that made it so that, it was pushing me towards spirituality. For many years, I didn't know I didn't know exactly who my people were. So I started the research. My grandfather had passed down all of the traditional knowledge from my grandmothers and who we were, but it was not on paper. So I went ahead and did some research. And from then on, I found out who my lineage was as a Métis person. Then I was able to go and connect with elders and with Eliz as well. And there's a lot of work that went into that.
There's a lot of coincidences that are not, right?
Coincidence, major accidents that, made me question, like I was saying, made me question why. You're wondering, like, how the heck did I survive that? And of course, I do suspect greatly that there was the negative energies that were at play too. And they still are today, trying to prevent.
Well, you had a very good example of that with your foot, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. I went to see my elder for some counsel, because everybody needs counsel once in a while. Even the greatest teacher needs a counselor sometimes, to bounce information back and forth. And so she was talking to the spirits, and she told me, she says, okay, well, you're going to be moving on, because she was talking about things as a shaman, women, that I'm doing, and that I was going to be grandmother to the nation. And so, anyway, so she was giving me some of her.
It's extremely exciting to me.
It is. But she told me, she told me to be careful, because I was being noticed a lot more from the negative energies. So she says they're going to try to injure you or keep you from doing the work that you need to do. Sure enough, I walk out, not even 5 minutes away from her home. I somehow found the only gopher hole in the city of Ottawa, downtown, and broke my ankle. I fell in it and broke my ankle.
I know, I know I shouldn't laugh, but I couldn't help it. It was, I mean, it's not like you're alone.
So that really put me out for a little while.
It did not actually.
Well, it did, but it didn't. Like it
It gave you the option to do other things, I noticed.
Yes, I ended up doing other things more like almost like going inwards a bit and doing some spiritual stuff. I did do a few births and some birth ceremonies.
Which one of these days we'll bring you on and we will talk about those too, because that's pretty cool.
Yes, that's a lot of people are looking for ceremony nowadays, whether they're from a different cultural background. For me, I think that ceremony is necessary for whoever. Doesn't matter where you're from.
I'm not a Christian, but I have gone to many different. I've been to churches, temples, Buddhist temples, Catholic churches. I don't like this.
Sorry about that.
That's fine, as long as we can hear you. That's and the word we were looking for was polytheism.
Polytheism. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned it, I know it.
Yeah, I figured you knew it. Okay, and Jennifer, thank you very much for, and I do appreciate the quick healing. It's a minimum of 12 weeks because my rotary cuff was severely damaged and all 3 lines had to be tacked onto my shoulder. I cannot move my arm for 12 weeks, but I'm still here and I'm still working, so I'm okay. And we have 2 questions. Jennifer Schwab says, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just coming closer because the drilling.
Okay, it's really deep-throated drill. Jennifer Schwab says, I had so much coming towards me all at once. Does Spirit have any advice on how to help things turn around in a more positive direction for me? Thank you so much. Jennifer has been with us for quite a few years too.
One thing at a time. Your guys are saying just one thing at a time. It's never easy. The challenges that you're receiving are a mix of 2 things. Okay, 1, they want to see how much you can handle. 2 is something that they say you can. You can handle it. It's not going to be a problem. It's a process. It takes time. But there's a teaching that comes with it. It's teaching you something. Whether it's, and they say that you are resilient, so you are capable.
Is that?
You can get through it.
Okay.
Those are only obstacles for the moment.
Maddie, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to go to Tay next because Tay is Jennifer's daughter. Keep the energy together. And she says the energy, Tay says the energy has been very heavy and it's been hard to get motivated to do things. Do my guides have any messages? He kind of thinks it might be a blockage.
Okay, so there's a blockage within your own energy. You need to do a cleansing. I'm not sure which part of the country you do live in.
Midwestern states.
Okay, so if you do have cedar down there, I recommend you go and get some fresh one, not from the city because there's a lot of pollution. If you can go into like a nice little area and pick some from a tree, but introduce yourself to the tree and state your purpose. if you have a little bit of tobacco, leave a little bit of tobacco to the tree as a, as a gift for honor. You take some of a little bundle, only what you need, and then you can make it, you boil it. Okay, you boil it down, and then you can drink a little bit, but not too much. And that offers an internal spiritual cleansing. So it'll help dissolve some blockages, or you can shower with it, have a little shower. And then I recommend you not do that more than once a week, because it is a very potent, very strong medicine. And do a cleansing. Open your windows a little bit more. I know it might not be nice weather everywhere, but open your windows, do a cleansing, not only of your house, but of the actual property.
Okay. And anybody can do this, not just you, TJ.
Yes, anybody can do this. If you feel that the air is thick, this will remove whatever negativity is. I feel like if you've had people walk in your home in and out, people are carrying these energies as well into your home. So it could be from outside. If you're going to Home Depot, for example, you're a little bit of a magnet. So other people's energy, if they're sad, whatever, it's going to be it's sticking to you. So you need to cleanse that. So you need to cleanse yourself regularly. Probably an empath.
Yeah, she's probably empath.
Yeah, so you're empath, and you need to filter these things out.
Agreed. So Maddie says, if you have any messages for me, I would appreciate it.
From who? From her guides?
Yeah. You know who Maddie is, right?
Yes. There's a song playing. I don't know if you know. Hey, hey, baby, I wanna know if you'd be my girl. This song is playing. I don't know what that means.
I'm not going to help you with that one. We're going to leave that one where it is, but that's a really good one. Okay, I'm just telling somebody to jump on YouTube. Except I spelled jump wrong. Okay, so let me see what's going on. We don't want, as I said, we're just okay. AAA. It says, hello, any messages from me, please? I'm Asel. Okay, and Asel has been with us for quite a few years too.
I see a dog. Is there a dog or a family dog?
I don't really, Elle knows Asel better than I do, actually.
I don't know if it's like a guide, but it almost looks like a like a chocolate black lab. And he's just sitting and waiting, like happy waiting. So I'm not quite sure what to make of that one.
It's happy waiting, it's the feeling, so it's waiting, being patient for her.
Yeah, kind of wagging its tail too, like happy.
Yeah,
it's a happy dog here.
Basically, it probably means that she's on the right track, right?
Yeah. That feels right.
That's how you listen to your heart, right? Okay, I'll go with that. There's another thing too. I find when I
also see a road.
She's about ready to take a new journey. Yeah, you know that one pretty well, I would think.
Oh yeah, sometimes you see 1, 2, 3 and you're like, which one? But there's one road in this one, so I think there's something coming, a good opportunity coming for her.
Okay, so like I say, this is slow, and I'm going to stop when I'm tired. and or when Melanie needs to leave because she's probably going to have to go to work. But Bethany, this is a hard one. And if you don't want to do it, don't worry about it. Bethany Campbell says, hoping to hear from a deceased friend whose body was found a week ago, Gordon. He was a dear friend, and there seems to be a mystery around his passing. Was it suicide? Any messages would be greatly appreciated. If you don't want to do that one because this is your inauguration speech, but I can pull up a bit of information with you. What, or we can do it together.
Yeah, let's do it together.
Okay.
I'm getting a pull from the top of my head, so the neck and head.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. What is your feeling around the word of suicide with this?
I think that it's suicide, but accidental as well. I don't think that.
Okay, so because I keep getting yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah. So it's like an accidental.
Wasn't
Yeah.
intentional.
It wasn't intentional.
So then she wants to know if there's any messages.
He's okay. He's okay. He's made it over. He's not. You know, he says people who are sad and hide it well, or people who have these types of things happen to them. He says they don't go to hell. They do not.
No, they don't.
No.
That's a Christian idea. The truth is, why would they waste the energy? Why would you waste energy of the soul? You are given free will to choose to think you're in hell, but you're also at the same time surrounded by loving entities that are trying to talk to you, asking you to come out. I've dealt with so many people, suicide people, and I can't get to them because there's so many people, so many loving entities around them, supporting them, caring for them, until they choose to wake up and say, oh, this is the truth. And he Bethany, he says to me that thank you so much for reaching out. He so appreciates you, and it makes his heart glad that you care, but he's also at the same time, of course, sad that you feel that you have to go through what you're going through. Do you pick up anything else, Melanie?
Yeah, he's waiting in line for to come back. I think he was a joker too. I think he liked to make jokes.
Yeah, I think you're right, because it's funny when you said he's a joker. I saw a bunch of cards, like you know how they do the 52 pickup and they just drop it. What's the card game? 52 pickup.
Yeah, I think he was I want to say smart ass.
I think he was actually. So Bree says, I've been feeling stagnant for a long while too, partly because this difficult connection I have with someone. Lately, I have the feeling that I'm starting anew and finding myself again. I condone that, actually, Bree. That would be awesome for you to do that. Do you see anybody coming into her life? I don't think she's very old, Bree. She's like 23 to 33 kind of age group, I think.
So she's gonna have multiple people coming into her life. Multiple.
As soon as she says, okay, I'm here.
Yes. You carry that energy with you. So when you're ready, people will notice. And when they take notice, You're gonna have different types of choices to make.
Yeah. Okay, a cell or the AAA has a husky dog.
Okay.
Tara Scott, she says, "Hi girls, any messages for me, please? Kind regards." Oh, I missed one. Okay, we'll go back to Lily later. That's why Elle does this, right? She's really good.
Does she like to bake? Because I something about pies for that last message there, something about baking pies.
Tara Scott, I don't know.
So did somebody in her family or somebody she knew or something? There's like, I can smell it too. I'm smelling fresh baked pies.
Can you send up some here? Okay.
Yes, I'd like some too. I don't know if I think it's maybe a family member from the other side. But
it's very likely could be. Okay. But pies give you a sense of home and
yes, it's homey and it's sweet.
And it's family, right? Pies
Yeah.
to me
Comfort.
remind family.
Comfort.
Pie with cheddar cheese. That's family.
Yeah, I'm seeing like a rhubarb or a strawberry type.
That's
pie.
definitely my mother. It's just reminding me of good memories. Thank you, Tara. Let's see. Oh, Lily, she wants to know if there's any messages for me regarding work. And thank you. Lily's from Albania, so that's pretty cool. She's also been with us for quite a while. She's a redhead.
Oh, she must have beautiful hair then.
Curly, really curly.
Beautiful.
It is actually, when you see photographs of her, it's beautiful hair. You notice it right away. And she's also very spiritual.
So for work, did she enter something new or is she leaving? Because
I'm
it
not
feels
sure.
like it's
She joined a new company last year.
okay.
I suspect she's one of these people that, because she does spiritual work, she moves around a lot.
Well, that's what I'm getting because I'm like, is she coming or going?
Yeah.
I'm seeing coming and going a lot in different areas of work. I think that she likes that though. She likes doing different things. She becomes bored with one type of work over time. If it's too repetitive, maybe it's not the best job for the best work environment for her. But there's something pushing her to, I guess, because she can be greater. That's the thing, is she can be greater.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Lily is an awesome human being, but she does not give her, she doesn't allow herself to be as big as she is.
And I think that that's why there's coming and going. Because spirits are pushing her towards that too.
Yeah.
So you have a bigger purpose. So don't stop, don't settle.
She does too.
Don't settle.
He has a big purpose. So Tay says she don't know if they have cedar trees where they are. Pretty certain you do, but you can also get the oil, cedar oil.
Cedar oil. They might even have online cedar tea. You get it from the indigenous community. So you'll have, if you have sage, you can do a sage tea as well. That's a good, it's not as, it's potent, but it's a little different. Sage would work just as well. Add some add some flower petals to your bathtub too once in a while, for self-love. and protection. So you know what would be good? I would like for her to add some Epsom salt or any kind of natural salt, a little bit, flower petals, and either sage or cedar into her bath water.
Okay, that's pretty good. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay, well, Bethany says, thank you. I know this was difficult. A few weeks before he died, he said he did a protection ritual for me. Why, I don't know. I didn't ask. I love him very much. She says that we got him. Gordon is a true magician and an expert in tarot. Thank you so much. She's smiling. That's good. And she sent us a what they're called, money. So Lily says, same job, but if any new projects Lily wants to know if there's any new jobs, projects at her actual job.
I'm not seeing any at this moment. Maybe in the future, but it could take time. I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted with all that.
No, that's all right. We've been on for a while with you. I'm not sure how long we've been on, but we're actually. Lily says, thank you for your insights. Love your insights. So why don't we just call it because your family is. Yeah, let's call it because your family's busy right now. And one thing I would like to do is I'd like to start doing. Sure, Silver, just hang on. I would like to start doing a podcast with you and Maria and me, and then in another podcast with Linda and Sabi. Now he's soft. Okay, so Silver Bangle, she says, hello, any messages from my guides? And she's in Europe. She's in England, UK. She's also been following us for quite a while. Can't hear you.
Okay, I'm seeing like a little fairy flying around, asking you to travel and let loose a little bit. Have fun and enjoy your time.
I think that's really good advice for Silver Bangle, because I think that she finds life a little bit stressful. Okay, let's say goodbye. Anyhow, I would like to, when you've got time, we'd like to set up doing a regular podcast like this with a few questions and a few comments. Where I'd like to switch it up a little bit, because just doing straight questions is really mind-boggling. You go have something to eat or drink right now, you're going to need it, I promise you.
Definitely, I'm feeling it.
It's very hard. It's good exercise, but it's very hard. So I'm going to say namaste. Namasko. Thank you so much. And this will be up and on the YouTube and Facebook.